Hi friends, welcome back for the second part of major landforms of the earth. In this module, we'll discuss about the plateaus, types of plateaus, significance of the plateaus, and at last some fun activity for you. In the previous module, we discussed about the mountains, their types and their importance. Here we will discuss about the plateau. So first you should know what is a plateau. A plateau is an elevated flat land. It is also called flat topped tableland. A plateau is a comparatively flat land that rises abruptly from the surrounding areas. Its surface is undulating, and it may have one or more sides with steep slopes. Sometimes a plateau may be higher than a mountain, but its almost flat upper surface does not have a peak. So, I hope you must have visited in our country. If you talk about South India, is a peninsular plateau. So if you have visited that area, can you identify the difference between the plateaus, the mountains you talk about in that area and the Himalayan mountains? You will find that the Himalayan mountains have sharp peaks, high elevation, whereas the plateaus have low elevation and flat top. So that makes them plateau. So plateau is an elevated flat land. It is also called flat topped tableland. So let us see the some examples. Like mountains, a plateau may be old or young. The Deccan Plateau in India, the East African Plateau in Kenya, and the Western Plateau in Australia are some of the oldest plateaus. Now look at the image carefully. This might explain the formation of mountains due to the tectonic plate movement. You in the previous chapter have learned that how the plate movements takes place and result in the formation of mountains. So here is a simple explanation of that. Plates, when they move towards each other or one above the other, they slide. So that results in formation of the mountains. This is related to the formation of plateaus also. During the continental drift, the huge landmass got separated and formed different continents. In various continents, many continents blocks are present, which are known as tectonic plateaus. So, we will be discussing about the types of plateaus. So, these are tectonic plateaus. Look at this picture. A very good example of the tectonic plateau. From the two phases, the plate movement has resulted in the formation of this flat topography, and after a period of time, due to erosion or weathering, this might have resulted in the flat surface, and this is how the tableland topography of plateaus are done. So if you see the definition again of the plateau, a plateau is a comparatively flat land that rises abruptly from the surrounding areas. Its surface is undulating and may have one or more sides with steep slopes. Sometimes the plateau may be higher than the mountain, but its almost flat surface does not have a peak. So, keeping in this mind this definition, look at the picture carefully. So, like mountains, a plateau may be old or young. The Deccan Plateau in India, the East African Plateau in Kenya, and the Western Plateau, Australia, are some of the oldest plateaus. The Deccan Plateau, India. You know how important the Deccan Plateau is for us. It is also known as the storehouse of minerals, you can say. We will be discussing why the Deccan Plateau is rich in minerals. One more good example of the plateau areas, the Giza Plateau is a plateau in Giza on the outskirts of Cairo, Egypt. A beautiful plateau landscape. These are the pyramids you can see. The settlements over here, outskirts of Cairo. This is Egypt, the pyramids on the plateau land. So all these pyramids are or you can say have been made on these plateau areas of the Giza Plateau. So now we'll be discussing about the different types of plateaus. During the continental drift, the huge landmass got separated and formed different continents. In various continents, many continents blocks are present which are known as tectonic plateaus. There are three types depending upon their location. So let us see. Number one is your continental plateau. These plateaus rise abruptly from the sea or nearby lowland. The Chota Nagpur Plateau, the plateau of Western Australia, and the plateau of South Africa are continental plateaus. A very good example of the continental plateau, the Blake Continental Plateau, Georgia. So, continental plateau. These plateaus rise abruptly from the sea or nearby lowland. So these plateaus rise abruptly from the sea or nearby lowland. So have a look at the image carefully. So you can see clearly that this is uplifted part from the sea, and due to the flat surface, it has taken the shape of a plateau. We call it as a continental plateau. Both the side we have sea over here. So again, a good example of this plateau. The same thing. This is the example from the Blake Continental Plateau, Georgia. We have example from India also, the Chota Nagpur Plateau. This is the exact location of the Chota Nagpur Plateau. And this is the real pictures of the Chota Nagpur Plateau. So this was about the continental plateaus. Now let us discuss about intermountain plateaus. During the formation of whole mountains, the lower areas between them got lifted up to form plateaus. Since they are enclosed by mountains range, they are called intermountain plateaus. So keep this definition in mind. They are enclosed by mountain range. They are called intermountain plateaus. The Tibet Plateau lies between the Himalayas in the south and Kunlun Mountains in the north. The plateau of Iran and the Bolivia plateau are also intermountain plateau. So the Kullu Mountains in the north, the plateau of Iran and the Bolivian plateau are also intermountain plateaus. Let us have a look of the image which clearly shows the formation of the intermountain plateau. Both the side you have the mountain, and in between the uplifted part, this is the intermountain plateau. So look at the definition again. During the formation of old mountains, the lower areas between them got lifted up to form plateaus. Since they are enclosed by mountain range, they are called intermountain plateaus. So the lower areas, this is the lower area. What happened? The lower areas between them got lifted up to form plateaus. So it got lifted up to form, and both the sides are the mountain. So this is intermountain plateau. Here is an example from the plateau of Iran and the Tibet. A good example of intermountain plateaus. The flat land topography is over here. Both the sides will have high elevated mountains. If you have a look of this picture, here also, this is the area of the plateau, Tibet plateau. And that is great. Higher Himalayas over here. The both sides you have the high elevated mountains. In between you have the flat land topographies. Now let us discuss about the Piedmont plateaus. These plateaus have mountains on one side, and on the other side either there is a lowland or the sea. They are formed at the foot of the mountains. The plateau of Patagonia in Argentina falls in this category. Look at the image. These plateaus have mountains on one side. So one side you have the mountain, and on the other side either there is a lowland or the sea. The lowland and the sea. So this area, this is your Piedmont plateau. So remember the definition. These plateaus have mountains on one side, there is the mountain, and on the other side either there is a lower land, this is the lower land, or the sea over here. So this is the area of Piedmont plateau. This is Piedmont. Look at the picture. The plateau of Patagonia, Argentina. One side is the mountain and flat land and sea over here. A perfect example of Piedmont plateaus. Here also. Mountains, lowland areas and the sea. So this is a perfect example, you can say, of Piedmont plateaus, the plateau of Patagonia, Argentina. Now let us discuss about residual plateaus. After wearing down of millions of years of erosion, some old fold or block mountains get converted to plateaus. The Central Rhine upland in Germany, the Field Plateau in Scandinavia, and the Cumberland Plateau in the USA are residual plateaus. So remember the definition, what it is saying. After wearing down of millions of years of erosion, you know, removal of top layer of the soil, so erosion is taking place. Some old fold or block mountains get converted. So due to the continuous erosion, they get converted into a plateau. The Central Rhine upland in Germany, the Field Plateau in Scandinavia, and the Cumberland Plateau in the USA are good examples of residual plateau. Look at the image carefully. After raindowns of millions of years, this might be mountains, millions of years, continuous mountain ranges, but due to the continuous erosion, some old fold or block mountains get converted to plateaus. So it has been converted to these block mountains and will converted to plateaus. So it is the result of erosion which took place millions of years ago, and it takes huge, you can say, a very long time to convert these block mountains into a plateau. This is an example. Look at the picture carefully. The Field Plateau in Scandinavia. So this is Scandinavian plateau, the Field Plateau. You can have a look of the beauty of this plateau. In fact, I have seen that all plateaus have their own scenic beauty. We will be discussing the importance of this plateau, but it is important to know that these plateaus, all the plateaus we are talking about, you talk about the Tibet plateau or these plateaus, or the one I showed you, the plateau of Giza. All these plateaus have a very beautiful scenic, you can say, beauty, and they attract large number of people for various purposes. It might be for minerals, it might be for tourism, for many things. These plateaus, they attract the people. And another example is the Cumberland Plateau, USA. Again, see the beauty of the nature. This is the Cumberland Plateau, image from the Cumberland Plateau, USA. Now let us talk about the volcanic plateau. We have discussed about the formation of volcanoes. You know that how the volcanoes are formed. You can talk about of our country, the peninsular part, the Deccan Plateau also. So volcanoes are generally found where tectonic plates are diverging, pulling apart or converging, coming together. By contrast, volcanoes are usually not created where two tectonic plates slide past one another. In case of divergent plate, the earth crust is thin at the place and magma can easily flow out. Hekla, Iceland on the mid-Atlantic ridge is a good example of such type of a volcano. When plates are convergent and one tectonic plate is submerged by another, high friction takes place between them, and it leads to the melting of rocks and magma is formed. Mount Etna and Mount Vesuvius are formed in this way. These types of volcanoes continue to be active for a long time. These places experience a lot of volcanic activity and are called hotspots. There are many such hotspots around the Pacific Ring of Fire. Volcanoes can also form where there is stretching and thinning of the earth crust. It is called non-hotspot intraplate volcanism, such as in the African Rift Valley. So now you have understood about the formation of volcanoes. You know already how the volcanoes. To be very simple, the magma from the interior of the earth comes out, and on the surface of the earth, when it cools down, the lava, when it cools down, that forms a rock. Mostly igneous rocks are developed in case of India, if you talk about, and which are very rich in minerals. And this is how when all this material are deposited over the land surface, that forms a volcanic plateau. So let us see the definition, what it says. Sometimes volcanic eruptions take place along the narrow cracks in the earth crust. The magma released from the fissures spreads over a large area. These sheets of lava form plateaus. The Snake Plateau in the USA, the Antrim Plateau in North Ireland, and the Ethiopian Plateau in Africa are volcanic plateaus. In India, the Chota Nagpur plateau is also a volcanic plateau. So all those plateaus which has been developed by the flow of magma depositing on the surface of the earth surface, and this lava, when it solidifies, that converts into a plateau that is known as your volcanic plateau. Look at the image carefully. This clearly shows how the volcanic plateaus are developed. The volcanoes, magma comes out from the interior of the earth's surface, and the lava, when it flows down and it solidifies when it comes in contact with the atmospheric conditions. So that converts into the higher up flatlands. These are known as plateaus. Here again you can see the pictures at the back, the volcanic areas, the magma which is deposited, that makes the volcanic plateau. So a lava plateau is a wide flat surface formed when a large amount of highly fluid lava flows over an area. This thin and runny lava can disperse over a large areas, and as the lava cools and solidifies, it forms the large flat plateaus of rocks. So this is how the thin and runny lava can disperse over a large area. It is deposited and the lava cools and solidifies. So it solidifies and it forms the large flat plateaus of rocks. Let us see some good examples of these plateaus. The Snake Plateau, USA. This is the Snake Plateau. As the rivers makes a pattern of a snake, so it might be known as the Snake Plateau. So this is a Snake Plateau of USA, and this is an example from India, the Deccan Plateau. All these are good examples of volcanic plateaus. This is Snake Plateau, USA, and this is a Deccan Plateau in India. Again, volcanic plateau in Argentina. This is the core center of the volcano, and this is how the lava has been deposited over the large surface and has resulted in the formation of this plateau. This is a good example, a volcanic plateau in Argentina. And here is the roof of the wall. We'll talk about the Tibetan Plateau. It is known as the roof of the wall. This is again the Eurasian Plateau. So over India you have, this is the area where Tibetan Plateau lies. So some facts about the Tibetan Plateau. The Tibet Plateau, also known as the Qinghai Tibetan Plateau, is the highest plateau in the world, with a height of 4,000 to 6,000 meters above the mean sea level. It is also known as the roof of the world. So as it is at the top of the mountains, the Great Himalayas, so it is known as the roof of the world. This is the Himalayas, and here you have the Tibetan Plateau. So see the beautiful landscapes of the Tibetan Plateau. Try to search more details about this plateau, dry frozen areas. They are also known as the dry deserts, cold deserts, dry cold deserts you can call them as. Temperature is low over here, it is -0°, and all grasslands you can see, but no vegetations you will find in these areas. So this is the Tibet again, the Tibet Plateau, also known as the Qinghai Tibetan Plateau. It is the highest plateau in the world with a height of 4,000 to 6,000 meters above the mean sea level. It is also known as the roof of the world. Now let us discuss. You have learned enough about the different types of plateaus. So we will be discussing about the significance of plateaus, the importance of these plateaus we will discuss. how they are useful for us. So plateaus are very useful for a country due to the following reasons. They are rich in mineral deposits. As a result, most of the mining areas of the world are located in the plateau areas. So if you take the case of India, Deccan Plateau is rich in mineral resources. So it is also known as storehouse of minerals. So due to the volcanic eruptions, the deposition of lava has resulted in the richness of the minerals in these areas, you can say. So the African plateau is rich in gold and diamond, copper and uranium. In India, the Chota Nagpur plateau and the Deccan plateaus have huge reserves of gold, iron and manganese. The volcanic plateaus are rich in black soil. They are fertile and good for crops like cotton and sugarcane. Steep plateaus are often sources of high waterfalls. The Jog Falls in Karnataka, the Victoria Falls in Africa, and the Niagara Falls in North America are such waterfalls. Some of these waterfalls are also used for generating hydroelectricity. The scenic beauty of the plateau region attracts tourists from all over the place. So I already discussed all these plateaus region. As per my research, what I have found that all these plateaus are very, very beautiful. So they attract large number of tourists also. So let us see again some uses how these, you can see in South India you have the Nilgiri hills and Kodaikanals and other places where you will find the tea cultivation and the coffee cultivation in India. So due to the richness of minerals, the soil type, all has resulted in good cultivation of tea in these areas and coffee. These plateaus are good grazing areas also. You can see a lot of sheep and goats or livestock. Small grasslands are there, so they have been the good source of grazing areas. And in fact, minerals, they are mineral rich areas. All plateau areas, they are rich in minerals, especially the volcanic plateau areas, they are very rich in minerals. So rich in black soils and minerals. Again, these plateau areas, you can see the beautiful scenic beauty of this plateau area, and rich black soils they have. And India good for the cultivation of cotton. So black cotton soil is found in these areas, black soil which is very rich in minerals, and the coal also found in these areas. So minerals, definitely they are very rich in minerals. Now spices, South India and other parts. If you talk about Tibet, they have their own spices. South India, they have their own spices, which are very famous for the spices, the Deccan part of the country. So all these plateaus, they are very good sources of spices. All types of spices are, and they are home to the giant squirrel, which is one of the important endangered species in South India. You can call it as the giant squirrel, and it is the home of giant squirrel, the South Indian plateau. So now in fact you understand the importance of these plateau areas. Same way you have the Jog Falls, Karnataka, located on these plateaus, the beautiful Jog Falls over these areas, the Jog Falls in Karnataka, one of the highest fall in India, you can say, the Jog Falls, waterfalls. And these plateaus where the falls are there, these waterfalls are there, are used for generating hydroelectricity also. So they can be a good source of generating hydroelectricity also. Waterfalls which are there are used for generating hydroelectricity. So this is a good example of of a plateau area where waterfalls are there, used as tourism, used for generating hydroelectricity, attracts large number of people, and that's why it has its own importance. So all these plateaus are important. So this is how this is all there in this module. Hope you must have understood this module. We'll meet in the next module. Before that, things to do, some fun activity for you. Why do several people settle in their plateaus? So people, large number of people, they settle in the plateau areas. So by viewing this, watching this carefully, you must have got the answers. So try to find more answers that why these plateaus attract people toward them. Why do several people settle in these plateaus? Hope you must have understood and enjoyed. Thanks. Meet you in the next module.